All right, guys, welcome back to Relegation Battle. Semi-finals have now happened, and I think fair to say we're all here very happy with the outcome of it. I'll come to you first. Start with the England game. What are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, it was good. Started off dodgy, obviously from that free kick, but obviously I was fearing the worst. Like when that went in, I was like, oh, here we go again. Because obviously it was our first time going behind, so obviously we didn't really know how the team was going to react, but the reaction was positive. Um, yeah, it was really good. I thought the refereeing was dodgy. Like that Maguire yellow card was
Yeah,
ridiculous. Like it was so stupid. Like it is like you can't even jump for the ball these days. But yeah, great performance in the end. I think the Grealish sub and then sub that was dodgy, but I guess in the end it made sense because he wanted to go more defensive. And then in the end, in extra time, obviously there was a lot more space. We could have scored more, but it was just about seeing the game out and then just moving on to the final. So, but yeah, it was a good performance in the end. So, and Denmark were unlucky, but who cares?
mm. Yeah. I think Southgate explained the Grealish one, and I think Grealish said as well. It is what it is. They got the win, and that's all that mattered in the end. Jack, Ty
Yeah,
mentioned that we came back from behind. How important is that to get that? To know that they can come back from behind going into a final, especially.
Exactly. And we know Italy are a good team, so they're gonna have the ball against us, they're gonna create chance. And if they do score, you never know if we won this game 2-0, how would they have reacted in the final, you know?
Mm.
They would have been like, yeah, we got here, but now we don't know what to do. But like you said, they they've had the experience now. I mean, they're all used to big games and maybe going behind, but they haven't in this tournament yet. And maybe lucky it was come against I don't want to be disrespectful to Denmark, but a so-called weaker opponent to us.
Mm.
They're still a strong team, but they're so-called weaker than us. So obviously that helped, because we had, and they scored not they scored fairly early, so we still had a lot of time anyway.
Mm.
So I think with Italy, it would be different if they were to score in the second half. We didn't know what to do, but it's definitely a mental boost now knowing they can come from behind if necessary.
Yeah, I think it's just conceding. He says we scored. I think scoring before halftime was important for us because
Mm,
if you go 1-0 down the break, like it's still hard knowing that you are behind and you got to put the extra F in. But whereas if it's 1-1, you're still playing like worse than you should. But because it's at a draw, you're a bit more calm, I think. And I think that probably helped quite a lot. We're going to obviously final before we talk about the final itself. Ty, it was, I think it's fair to say Spain were the better team in that game. So what did you make of it?
yeah, they were the better team. Obviously, I came on here and predicted that Italy to win like 3-0, but you know that was wrong. So um, yeah, they were the better team, but Italy, I think they just showed their quality really by being able to just stick at it, keep going, get the game to penalties, and then obviously hashtag Jorginho for Ballon d'Or. So you know, it
It
was a
was a
great
good
penalty from
penalty, to
him.
be
But
fair.
yeah, fair play to Italy because they were my dark horses anyway, and Jack's. So
Mm.
you know,
Well, if you know about predictions, I said no, no, to be fair, but I did say Italy on penalties. But Jack, that
yeah,
was the first time we have seen Italy sort of being the second best team. And I think the main part of it is because they didn't have possession of the ball. And that's where the likes of Jorginho and Verratti sort of thrive off, when on the ball. So knowing that, and I'm sure Southgate looked at that, do you think we will come out a bit more attacking in that sense, or do you still think we back ourselves a bit more defensively with them on the ball?
I think we're going to be a bit more cagey just because this whole tournament we've seen Italy dominate the ball. Yeah, they weren't too good against Austria and maybe got a bit lucky, but overall they dominated every game, and like I think Joel, I don't know if Tyree said it as well, but we all thought that Spain were going to dominate the ball in that game, and they did. But then that just shows how resolute the Italian team are. They weren't chasing the ball; they were happy just to sit, defend, caught Spain on a very good counter and a very good goal. Obviously, Spain did score, but they're more than capable of keeping a clean sheet. So I don't think we can go too attacking. like what Spain did, try and get on the ball and create chances, because there's always that chance that they're going to get on the counter. And if we don't score early and they do, it's going to be hard to come back against them.
Mm.
But I do think we can take some pointers from that Spain game. You know, they're not always wanting the ball, so we can have, you know, we've got quality players on the ball as well. So in periods of the game, we need to be assured on the ball and know that we do have the quality and they can sit back.
Mm. Yeah, I think we definitely take some points off that Spain team. It's just, I don't know if we can create as many chances as that Spain team did, because, you know, I think they had like over 60% possession. I think maybe over 65% as well. And you know, they should have won the game, to be honest. Oyarzabal missed
I do
some
think
great
in the
chances.
final, it will be Italy having the most of the ball.
Yeah.
And we will try and use the pace and the counter attack. But obviously, they're not going to have 100% of possession, you know. So when we do have the ball, we've got to make the most of it. But like you said, we're not going to create as many chances. Spain, because our midfielders just don't progress the ball quick enough. That's it.
Yeah, you know, keeping the ball as well is not. I mean, no disrespect to Rice and Phillips, but it's not the same as Busquets, who's been doing it for almost a whole career now. In Pedri, I mean, the way he played in that game yesterday, you wouldn't think he was 18 years old. The way he kept the ball, progressed.
Didn't have 100% pass accuracy in 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think his first misplaced pass, like in the 18th minute, it was crazy to see him play like that. But, you know, I think it's a good, from an England standpoint, that we did see Italy show some weakness, not like the Austria weakness, like proper, you know, they were on the back foot for a game. So I think that's positive to see. So Ty, how do you line up against Italy then? Would you keep Saka out there? Would you, knowing that, you know, they can be, Emerson's obviously going to be the main weak point, I think it's fair to say, in that back line. Would you maybe put on a Rashford there or Sancho just to sort of take him on a bit more?
I would keep. I think I'd keep Saka in the team, but I'd take out Mount because, you know, I'll be honest, Mount he hasn't performed for England how he normally does for Chelsea. But so yeah, I'd put Grealish in for Mount, and then obviously keep Saka in because Emerson, he can get exposed very easily. He likes to switch off. But yeah, I think other than that, I'd keep everything else the same. I was watching something earlier about Henderson coming in, but I don't know why you bring Henderson in when Rice and Phillips have played the whole tournament and they've looked all right. They've done their job. But yeah, everything else I keep the same, but I'll just take out Mount and then bring in Grealish. So
yeah, I sort of understand that because it's weird. Mount, fair enough, he's not in a 10. I think his best games for England as well in the sort of qualifying games, he was playing a bit deeper in the 8 and he was picking up from there. But he's not a 10. I can see that from his positioning. I feel like he was at striker half the time, and Kane was playing, even not in Cam, he's playing a bit deeper than that. And just left this massive gap in the mid, sort of that number 10 area where, say, if Shaw or Rice were on the ball, like that's where they had to pass it, but there was no one there because Kane was too far back and Mount was just almost playing as a striker. And I feel like we do need a proper 10 in there if we're going to expose this Italian team, because that's what Dani Olmo did. He was floating about in that area and he was causing big problems for them. Jack, would you stick to the back four then, or would you keep Rice and Phillips just in ahead of them as well?
I would keep the back four. Against Ty, I would actually bring in Henderson. You know, showing that he's played, it seemed like he's fit enough to play.
Yeah.
And Henderson is he's better on the ball than both those players. And we're gonna need that. And
who do you think drops out though?
I mean, you would probably say Phillips. But Phillips has been good, so it's a bit unlucky, but it's a final, you know, you can't really talk about, oh yeah, he's played all the tournaments, so you got to be nice to him, you know. We've got a chance to win the Euros for the first time in his country, and you want to be like,
so I think Henderson, and I think so
he's brilliant on the ball. Like, I know maybe Italy are going to have more of the ball, but when we do have the ball, we've got to make it count, and that's where Henderson come in. And Henderson can do the dogged work as well, you know, and picking up pieces of the possession, breaking up play. But he's also better on the ball than both of those players. So, you know what? I'm not saying he has to play 90 minutes, but start him 60th minute if he's tired, then bring on Phillips. You know, bringing that more energy against the Italian team who are, because most of their players play in the Serie A, and we all know that's a very slow league. So bringing someone like the energy of Phillips coming on, that could tire them. But yeah, I'd pretty much keep it the same. But yeah, I'd probably take Mount out as well. I just don't think he's done enough to keep his place in any of the games really. And I'll just bring in Henderson in, and I'll probably bring Grealish from Mount.
Yeah, I think Henderson point. Yeah, I think it's fair. I think whoever we start, I think both, whether it's Rice, Phillips, or Henderson, I think all three of them proven they can do the job there.
I don't think he will though. I think it will. I think he'll keep the exact same team as the semi-final.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think it would make more sense to swap Henderson for Phillips and Rice because, Phillips more does the running, more of the dirty work, and I think that's just what suits Henderson as well. But I feel like we are in a position where the starters do well and the people who come off the bench are doing well as well. So that's just a bonus for Southgate. It doesn't really matter who he starts because it seems like he trusts the players and the players trust him as well, which is probably the most important thing. I think one thing we need to talk about is the Sterling not penalty incident. Or what did you guys make of it?
It wasn't a penalty, but fuck it, we're in the final. So
yeah, this is my point.
I think it was soft, but if you look at it from like a back angle, he gets two touches. The first guy that gets the ball, so he tackles him, then obviously Sterling gets away. He comes back, his knee clips Sterling's knee, and after that contact, the other guy comes in and hip to hip. So there's two contacts in there. They're soft, but it's a foul anywhere else. He's got sandwiched in, so it might be soft, but it can be given. So I think it is a penalty.
Yeah, I think the fact is, ref obviously gave it as a penalty originally. And when you see those 2 points of contact, it's not really clear and obvious error. I think that's the whole point.
It's never going to get overturned.
So, it doesn't really make sense to overturn it if you've got those 2 points of contact, no matter how soft. So I think that was a pretty fair decision in general. The last point I want to talk about is before we go to the actual thing. Spain obviously got to the semis. There's a bit of negative talk about them before the whole tournament, and no Real Madrid players in the team. It seemed like Luis Enrique was doing a bit of Barca bias there. Talk about Morata and the front line. I mean, I was happy when Morata scored, but I really did not want him to miss a penalty out of everyone because of the hate he gets. Whether it's rightly or wrong hate, it's just you don't want him to miss a penalty because he's going to get abused like that. It's a bit like if Sterling, safe, I don't know, we lost that game, as you look back to that, Sterling say he missed. He hit Stretch Michael.
Yeah.
If we lost that game, he is going to get absolutely abused for that. But what do you guys think? World Cup in just over a year and a few months. Spain team got to semi-finals of this. They got Koke, Jordi Alba, and Busquets are the leaders, but the rest of the team is still fairly young. Another year of experience in the belts. Say, Ansu Fati comes back as well this season, starts scoring. How do you guys think they could do in the next tournament?
I think they can do well again, No, I don't think anyone expected Spain to get to the semi-final. So to them, it was a decent tournament for them. And maybe they were unlucky, but over the course of the tournament, you would say they lost to a better team. So it's not like they lost to a so-called worse team. So another year under their belts, under the players' belts, you never know. Busquets might not even be playing for the Spain national team next year. He might get picked, but obviously you got Rodri to come in and fill that position because Busquets is another year older. It's another year slower. He's still got the brains, but does he have the legs? I'm not too sure. So it's just whether nurturing the younger players that are coming through. So I do think they can have a decent tournament again next year, but I don't think they can go one step further than this Euros and get to the final, just because I think they need a couple more tournaments for those younger players just to get up to speed.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just the main issue with Spain. It's just their finishing, really. Just Morata. I was just whenever I watch Morata in this tournament, I was just getting flashbacks to him at Chelsea. But yeah, so I think, like Jack said, they'll probably have another they'll have a decent tournament again, but I just think because of their lack of finishing, this is gonna just halt them again. So yeah.
What are your guys' predictions for the finals then?
Oh,
I've got an optimistic scoreline and I've got a realistic scoreline.
I think you
But-
got it. Yeah,
He's got
I feel like
this-
we all want to
okay,
say England win, but how realistic is it going to
I
be?
mean, if it does go to penalties, I'm confident we win because I don't know if you heard the stat. No team has ever won 2 penalty shootouts and 1 Euros, and Italy have already won theirs. So if it does go to penalties, then
I
the
mean, I don't
German advantage,
know I don't know what that means, but
So no team has ever
no,
gone.
I
to,
know
so
what you're
let's say,
saying, but like
Oh,
that's like saying no one's kept 4 clean sheets in a row in Euros, but Pickford just made it 5. It can change.
but I know I'm only joking, but I reckon it's going to be it's a final. All finals are cagey, So I wouldn't be surprised if it's 0-0 at half time. But I'm going for a 1-0 England win.
yes,
Hi.
Jack, that's the spirit. Well, in 2012, Chelsea won the Champions League and Italy lost in the final of the Euros. So, yeah, football's coming home. All right, we're gonna win. I'm gonna go with 2-1 after extra time again.
Oh,
So,
if it goes extra time, if I can take that pressure.
You're just copying the scoreline as last time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think it's going to be very cagey because, just like our semi-final, and these Italy teams, apart from Bonucci and Chiellini, it's pretty much their first tournament as well. They missed out the last World Cup, last Euros. They're a very new team in terms of tournament football. So I think both teams can be very, very nervous going into it. I'm going to copy Jack and go 1-0 England. So hoping that we somehow keep a clean sheet. I don't think Immobile is a problem for us. He's been quite average.
No, I think it's their wide players. I think Maguire and Stones can handle Immobile quite well. He's not going to run in behind. I think that's what Stones and Maguire, I think, are wary of. But if your striker's just going to sit in front of them, they'll be more than happy to defend anything that's in front of them. So I think the fullbacks, Walker and Shaw, I'm guessing it's going to be, just got to be careful. Those runs in behind, they're quick fullbacks, and they both like to cut in. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Insigne sort of comes in more sort of to give like Emerson was playing a little more space.
Yeah.
If Kaiser starts, which I hope this time he doesn't, normally I do, but if he starts, Luke Shaw does have a problem because I don't think I've seen a winger as direct as him in a while. Because every time he's on the ball, he looks to score a goal, get an assist or something. He literally turns, face the goal, and tries to take a touch and bang it every time.
Yeah.
And that's going to be worrying. Because even though Luke Shaw's had a brilliant tournament, brilliant season, it's not going to be easy to deal with that. But yeah, hopefully it comes home. Before we finish, I think Copa America finals is like Saturday night, Sunday morning at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So not the ideal time, but it should be a great game. Messi versus Neymar, Argentina versus Brazil. Could say it's Messi's last chance, really. If he loses one more final, is he going to sort of try again? You don't really know, but two pretty good semi-finals. Brazil fairly comfortable in theirs. The Argentina-Colombia game was an absolute mess. Like the fouls were flying in. Like Messi's ankle was just bleeding everywhere. They were just trying to kill everyone. But Emi Martinez turned up in the penalty shootout, 3 big saves, and I think I'm not sure there's extra time in the finals or not. But if there is, then fair enough. If not, then I can definitely see that game go to penalties. But hopefully Argentina do get the job done just for Messi, to be honest, because I think he needs an international accolade.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't really. If he already had one, I didn't care who wins. I just hope for a good game. But this time, I'm hoping for an Argentina win. But yeah, that is all from us. Thank you guys for joining me, and have a nice.
Before I think it's time to talk. I think it's time we sit down and just say what's going on. I think we should say